Okay, I wanted to just interview a little bit and get your thoughts on the event last night. Tara, a female Western fighter at the gym, fought a male opponent, which is exceedingly rare. Like we thought about people we know, women that we know have fought a male opponent, and we came up with several who have fought as kids. Pet Jia, Iman Barlow. Who else? Saya Ito, in like padded gear, but not common. And then adults is Lucia Riker, Chantal Uy, and
Bukau Fasitong.
Oh, and Bukau recently fought.
Female Bukau, not the Bukau people are talking about.
Yeah. And
Tara.
And now Tara. So there are surely others in Isan, like Fasitong. She's one of probably several that have done that. They're just too strong; they can't find opponents. But maybe talk a little bit about what it was like to be there. It kind of felt like just another fight, which is kind of cool. But then it also crosses a kind of gender line that people are interested in, and you're interested in.
Well, I was just telling you that I had made a concerted effort to convince and behave myself as though this was not a big deal, so that Tara would not feel a lot of pressure. Because part of the beauty of this fight and being able to fight at the bar is that there's no pressure, and coming to Thailand and able to have fights that are not the Western style, like built up, this is a huge, monumental, means so much about me kind of thing. Bringing that pressure down so that someone can enjoy the fight and the experience is something that I made an effort towards. But it's kind of a big deal. It's kind of amazing.
Well, at the same time, it's like not a big deal and a big deal,
right,
as a lot of things are at the border of categories.
Yeah,
right.
It was kind of interesting to listen to Pinu after the fight. Pinu's the one who set up the fight with Cruden. And he basically was like, there are not women Tara's size, so if she wants to fight, she has to fight a man. She had not asked to fight, so he kind of came up with this on his own.
Yeah.
But
having trained her and feeling her desire.
Her power, yeah. But he was like, she can. Like, this is something that can happen. But after the fight, she was, icing a spot on her shin, which is a very normal mouse to have on your shin in a fight. And he was talking about how women's skin and man's skin is different, as though a man would not have gotten a mouse on his shin from a fight rather than it being an experience thing. But why this is interesting is that women train with men all the time. And women who have never fought a man, many women are isolated in their gyms, and their main training partners are males. And they talk so much about, like, I'm tougher because of this, or it helps me, or all of these things. All my training partners are boys.
And a lot of times that's not just training with men, but it's hard sparring. Like, a lot of women find themselves maybe even too hard.
Tara's sparring
sometimes.
with Champ the other day was harder than this fight with this guy, except Champ's smaller. But because of Champ's skill and abilities and stuff like that, if he were the same size as this other opponent, it would have been
very different.
Very different.
Yeah.
But this... Even though she knocked him out, even though she did incredibly well, even though it was an exciting experience and fight, to like end cap it the way that Pinu did with this, like, but men and women are still different kind of thing, to me was this like reinforcing of this gender divide of why men and women don't fight.
Well, Pinu's a kind of interesting person in that he has a lot of traditional beliefs and culturally conservative, right? But he also brought Angie, the first visibly trans fighter, to Lumpini Stadium after having her for a student for a couple of years and being won over by her. Like, so he's kind of this combination of conservative beliefs and open heart, which we don't really think of in the West that way. Like, if you're conservative, then you close your heart about lines. But in Thailand, it kind of isn't always like that, right?
Yeah. But it's the thing that allowed him to open himself to Angie was the way she demonstrates her heart, the way she shows her heart. And he's like, I recognize that. That's a fighter.
It's
So
the
it
same
doesn't
thing
matter.
with Tara, probably, though.
100%.
Because he trained her, felt her heart, and he's like,
This can go.
you create an experience for the heart to have.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Dieselnoy had a very strong reaction to
I
Tara.
like Tara a lot.
And Dieselnoy is like the heart king. Like
Yeah.
he's all about heart.
Yeah.
So there's something kind of beautiful here where Tara like came to Thailand, presented her heart, and then people were like, let's give that heart opportunity. And that, in a way, is what that fight was, too. It's kind of cool.
And she absolutely demonstrated her heart. We were right here. We were kicking the bags in the morning, and Pinu was like thinking about setting up this fight, and he asked me in Thai, would Tara fight a man? And so I just immediately translated to Tara. I'm like, hey, Tara, would you fight a man? And she did not even hesitate. She goes, sure. I was like, fuck.
It wasn't like...
If someone asked me, I'd be like, I need some
How many
details.
fights does he have?
How big?
Is he southpaw? Yeah. Well, what do you think this means in a sense of like, in the larger sense about Thailand and gender? Like you were saying, Pinu after the fight still had to create a categorical
And she won.
acknowledgement.
Like, if she'd lost, I would understand if he's like, oh, well, men and women are different, whatever, blah, 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 like as an excuse or something. But it was like, it was in the context of her having...
But also having been injured. It's like,
she got leg kicked really good.
Yeah,
It was a hard fight.
he was talking about
not
her
a show.
her injury. Yeah. And maybe he was thinking about female vulnerability or something, seeing that she was being kicked hard by a man.
And it's worth noting, this was an exhibition fight.
Yeah, important noting.
Male-female fights are not allowed in Thailand.
Yeah.
You cannot officially have a male versus female fight. When they have them in Asan, even with these big side bets and stuff, they have to call them an exhibition. They're not allowed. So the belief systems of that men and women should not fight each other is codified. So even if the woman wins, even if she does really well, even if it's like a competitive match, there is this like note on the end of it, this little asterisk on the end of it.
Yeah,
that's
reestablishment.
Like, yeah.
But the first thing is having the fight.
Yeah.
Like you can have the beliefs and not have the fight.
Mm-hmm.
You could have the beliefs and then you have the fight, and then what you see in the fight changes your feelings about your own beliefs. Like even Pinu has questioned some of the like longer term thoughts about females being banned from spaces and things like that.
Yeah.
But a lot of these things are just passed on without a lot of thought.
Yeah, and he is thoughtful about it when I talk to him about it. We were talking about women fighting at Lumpini when Angie was fighting at Lumpini, and he has this openness in his heart and this like kind of I had these thoughts, but then I saw a black swan and it changed my thoughts kind of thing. But then he's also like, no, but women should not fight at Lumpini. And when I was asking him about this one time, he like explained to me like, this is a thing, this, women cannot be here. But then he paused and he was like, I don't understand where this belief comes from. All of us come from a woman. Like every single person on this planet comes from the part of a woman that is supposedly like keep them out of sacred spaces. And he's like, we come from there. So he has these thoughts, but I think that it's not only Pinu, but a very Thai thing to let someone else go first. I feel that if some promoter just had the gall to put women in Lumpini, it would change. It just takes one person doing it first, and then other people will follow. But nobody wants to be first, because then you're the one who like...
Yeah. Eventually there'll be a promoter who wants to be first because they're first.
Yeah.
Because that creates a huge shakeup of some kind.
Yeah.
I wonder if some of the most traditional people in Muay Thai, like Arjun Sarat type, Pinu type, very traditional in so many ways. Dieselnoy, like there's something about their attachment to tradition and their love of fighting that opens a door to the gender divides being blurred and not holding the same distinctions.
Well,
Like,
I suspect that has to do with an understanding of important aspects of Muay Thai and calling them authentic or traditional, being like the heart of a fighter is more important than the business of the fighter.
Yeah.
And so the heart of the fighter can be inside a woman, whereas business-wise, unless you're going to sell a lot of tickets on that, that's not that
that's a very interesting point.
So these super traditional people like Ajahn Surat, who fucking loves Saoseng, or Krunu, who is very open to me and is very open to...
Well, we'll talk about that. I love this story about how when Angie fought at Lumpini and you saw Dieselnoy, who loves you, right?
Yeah.
At Lumpini, and when he found out you were with Angie, he was
sitting there. I saw him outside, like we had no idea that both of us were going to be there, and I went up and I said, Ajahn, like, hi to him, and he's like, oh, what are you doing here? And I said, I'm here helping my friend, and I pointed to Angie, who was at the next table, and his face fell. Like, he was not into the first trans woman fighting.
And he had come to Lumpini.
He goes to Lumpini often, but he saw the fight.
He knew what was when he came. Yeah, he came to see the fight.
And he was not into it. To be fair, this was close to a time when they had also had like a kind of gangster Facebook feud fight at Lumpini, so there were kind of like show things happening. But he was like, this is a show. Neither Angie as a Katoi nor her opponent at his skill level should be there. There's a lot of complaint about skill level at Lumpini. But after this fight, after he'd seen her fight, and then she fought again against the same opponent, Dieselnoy sent me a message and said, tell Angie this is how she needs to train in order to win. So he had gone from, like, this should not be happening to this is how the next fight with this guy, like, this should happen again, and she can beat him by making these changes, because she lost the second fight.
So this was her second fight?
It was after her second fight that he sent me a message and was like, this is what she needs to do in order to win.
Which is
third one.
Incredible to me. It means that his connection to what is happening, initially he was repelled by it. He saw the fight. This is what I mean about you have the beliefs, but if you have the fight, then you have a different feeling about your beliefs. And then he actually attempted to make her a better fighter.
Yeah.
Like, and wasn't it a substantive message?
It was long.
Yeah,
it was like
detailed.
It
was a detailed investment in her next fight.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's some element there within the more conservative. I think it's the love of heart, like the fighter's heart, that when they see it in anything, they just flower.
Remember, Pinu was telling us the other day, he's like, chicken fighting and Muay Thai, 80% the same in terms of like people love chicken fighting, they love Muay Thai, is that you can see the heart in a chicken. Like, it's the same, it like crosses over.
And beetle fighting. That there is a kind of like celebration of the human spirit that transcends all the categories.
Yeah, the spirit of the fight.